Alright, today we received our bare root trees from Rain Tree Nursery, and we're going to put 2 of them in this hole together. We're going to make one hole, and 2 trees are going to go inside of it. They're going to be Asian pears. So I'm going to bring you along while we do that. Stay tuned. Okay, this is the Tsu Li pear. These are roots. So this pear and this one, which one's that one called? Chojuro, are going to go in the same hole right there next to the lemon and the mango. Alright, next step coming soon. Alright, we're filling some water and she's trying to drink it. Over.
So we're going to plant the 2 Asian pears right here. Before I do that, I have to move the wood chips out of the way. Usually you'll see people that will use these in order to just kind of rake it up. I've done it before and I found that you end up throwing all your wood chips to the side. And it's not like moving soil back where it kind of freely smooths out. They interlock with each other, so you kind of have to fight the wood chips to kind of come back. And at the end you end up with irregularities, kind of lumpy mulch, and you have to walk it through. So instead of using this, I just pick up the wood chips in a circle roughly that I'm going to dig out, and I just put them in empty pots. Once I'm done with the tree, I can put them back by hand and you end up with a much smoother finished surface. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Okie dokie. That's what he did with the jujube tree. It looks very smooth. Pepper eating peanuts? Okay. Are you just going to put the mulch in those pots?
Sure on this placement?
Yeah.
So this is roughly our...
Now if we're planting 2 trees in there, is that a big enough hole?
No, the hole will probably be bigger than this, but I have to figure out a center from which to work from. So just a rough sketch of where to start pulling wood chips. Last couple of times I've done this, you can still see the contractor paper down there. It's not always a guarantee. Definitely see all the moisture that's still being retained. You smell that mycelium.
We haven't watered the trees or the mulch. It's just been the few rains that we've had. But this mulch is really retaining all that moisture, so we won't need to really water that often, if at all, hopefully. Alright, so we're just going to pull up the mulch and then dig the holes, and then we'll be back with the next part. She's almost dug our whole hole. But she's mixing the dirt with the wood chips. That is a no-no. This native soil is just sand, of course. But it's so wet. So wet. It's crazy how much water is being retained. Alright, now we're going to make some soil for our pear combo.
Alright, so this is all mushroom compost. Put in a handful of earthworm castings. Probably about 2 tablespoons of azomite. Bunch of trace elements. Mixing this with the native soil when we put the trees in.
Okay, we have the hole dug, and these are how the bare roots work. He did a good job moving them all around in different directions so that as the tree grows, they're not just going to go in circles. And then there's a root that we think go to the lemon. So next we're just going to add soil, put the second pear in, and then we'll be done. Can't forget that we're adding mycose. So mycose is a fungus inoculant. So it creates that endosymbiotic relationship with all of the fungus that we have in the garden, so that whenever these pears tap into that fungus, they'll be able to get nutrients and water from more of a distance than just readily available to their roots. Alright, we're going to plant this and then we'll be back. So what we're doing is we're layering the native soil, which is sand, and then that mushroom compost that we made in the back. So we're not going to feed it too much with the compost. We want it to be happy with its native home. So just a little bit of compost and then more native soil. Alright, we got the 2 trees planted. We're just checking that they are pretty level. Want to make sure they're pretty level so whenever they grow out, they'll grow straight. Alright, so we're halfway full with our soil. We're going to water it in, especially making sure that all those air pockets get filled. Pepper deserves her water.
We got our 2 Asian pears. They are planted. Now when it comes to reapplying the wood chips, here are my 2 buckets of wood chips. If you notice, this one's a little cleaner looking because this is the wood chips from the top. As I got closer to the soil surface, you end up kind of grabbing a little bit of dirt and soil along with it. So you want to make sure that you replace this in reverse order so that your less aesthetic mulch ends up on top, or on the bottom, and then you end up with a nice finish.
Alright, something to point out, you can already see the mycelium eating and breaking down those beautiful wood chips. And they're going to feed our plants for us. Thank you! Alright, and we're done. There are 2 pears in 1 hole. On the left side, we have the Chojuro. Does it want to focus? And then on the right side, we have the Tsu Li. These are both Asian pears. This one had a branch coming out of it. We didn't like it, so we took it off. Now we have a clone. We're going to graft this to one of the pears over on the other side. Alright, now we're going to see how well it grows with 2 pears in 1 hole.